All right, let's settle this once and for all. You've heard the hype, you've seen the headlines, but which AI is actually the king of the castle? ChatGPT-4o versus Claude 3 Opus. Everyone has an opinion, but today, we're cutting through the noise. We're not just talking about specs or what the companies claim, we're putting them to the test, side by side with the same prompts in real time. This isn't a marathon, it's a sprint. We've got 10 minutes, a handful of carefully crafted prompts, and we're going to see which one delivers the goods. Is it the household name ChatGPT or the rising challenger Claude? By the end of this video, you'll know which AI tool is genuinely better for your needs, whether you're a writer, a coder, a student, or just someone curious about the future. Let's get started. First up, the Creative Writing Challenge. This is where we separate the poets from the processors. I'm going to give both AIs the exact same prompt. Write a short 150-word story opening in the style of Neil Gaiman, about a forgotten god of lost keys living in a modern-day bus station. This tests not just creativity, but the ability to mimic a specific, complex, authorial voice. Style imitation is a huge deal for writers looking for inspiration. Okay, prompt sent to both. Let's see what they come up with. Whoa, okay, the results are in, and they are fascinating. Let's start with ChatGPT. It immediately nailed the Gaiman-esque tone, whimsical yet melancholic. It wrote, "They called him Clavis. Not that anyone called him anything anymore. He sat on the cracked vinyl of bench 7B, smelling of ozone and old pennies, watching the endless dance of frantic travelers. Each dropped key was a prayer he couldn't answer, a tiny metallic ghost haunting the grimy floors of the Port Authority." That's solid. It's atmospheric. It establishes the character. I can see it. Now for Claude. Its response was, "The god of small losses, particularly those of the jangling metallic kind, had made his unholy temple in the Grand Central lost and found. He was a creature of dust motes and quiet desperation, woven from the sighs of those who'd slapped their pockets in sudden panic. His name was a whisper on a draft, and his face was the composite of every forgotten photograph ever tucked into a wallet." This is also excellent, maybe even a bit more lyrical and abstract. It leans more into the God aspect. Honestly, this is tough. ChatGPT was more direct and story-focused, while Claude was more poetic and world-building. For capturing the feeling of Gaiman, I'm going to give a slight edge to Claude here. It feels a little more magical, but both were incredibly impressive. Next, let's test their practical, logical abilities. Coding. This is a massive use case for so many people. The prompt is, write a simple Python script that scrapes the headlines from the BBC News homepage and saves them to a text file. Include comments to explain each part of the code. This tests their ability to generate functional code, understand web structures, and explain their work clearly. Accuracy and clarity are key here. Let's hit send and see who codes cleaner. Okay, the code is in. Let's break it down. ChatGPT-4o spat out a very clean script using the popular libraries Requests and Beautiful Soup. The code is well structured, and the comments are fantastic. They're clear, concise, and genuinely helpful for a beginner. It explains the HTTP request, the parsing of the HTML, finding the specific headline tags, and writing to the file. It's exactly what I asked for, and it would likely run with minimal fuss. It's a textbook-perfect answer. Now let's look at Claude 3 Opus. It also used requests and beautiful soup. The code itself is very similar, almost identical in its core logic, which makes sense since it's a standard task. However, where Claude shines is in its explanation. Before even giving the code, it provided a brief overview of the plan. First, we'll fetch the web page content. Second, we'll parse the HTML to find the headline elements. Third, we'll extract the text and save it. Then, after the code block, it added a section on potential issues, like the website structure changing or how to handle errors. This proactive educational approach is incredibly valuable. While both produced working code, Claude's holistic explanation and foresight make it a better coding assistant, especially for learning. It's not just giving you the fish, it's teaching you how to fish. Point to Claude. So far, Claude is leading 2-0. But let's move on to a task that requires deep analysis and summarization. This is crucial for students, researchers, and professionals. I'm going to paste in a 3,000-word academic article about the psychological effects of social media. The prompt is, summarize this article into 5 key bullet points, and then explain the main counter-argument the author addresses. Keep the total response under 300 words. This tests its ability to process a large context window, identify core arguments, and distill complex information accurately. This is a real-world test of its analytical muscle. All right, the summaries are ready, and this is where things get really interesting. Let's start with ChatGPT. It did a great job. It quickly pulled out 5 distinct, accurate key points: increased anxiety, comparison culture, fear of missing out, echo chambers, and the impact on sleep. It was clear and direct. For the counter-argument part, it correctly identified that the author discussed the benefits of social connection and community for marginalized groups. It was precise, efficient, and stayed well within the word count. A really strong professional summary. Now for Claude. Remember, Claude's Opus model is famous for its massive context window. The summary it produced was also excellent. The 5 bullet points were very similar to ChatGPT's, which tells us they both identified the core concepts correctly. But where Claude excelled again was in the nuance. Its explanation of the counter-argument was more detailed. It didn't just say benefits of connection, it explained how the author framed it as a necessary nuance, not just a simple pro-con debate. It captured the author's tone and intellectual position more faithfully. It felt like it didn't just read the article, it understood it on a deeper level. For complex analysis, that deeper understanding is a game changer. I have to give this round to Claude as well. It's 3-0 to Claude. Is this going to be a clean sweep? Let's try something different. A common everyday task, email writing. The prompt? I need to email my boss, Sarah, to ask for a 2-day extension on the Q3 report. I've been sick with the flu. My tone should be professional, but apologetic and respectful of her time. Draft the email for me. This is all about tone, professionalism, and real-world communication skills. It's a subtle art. Let's see how they handle it. Okay, let's check out these emails. First, ChatGPT. It produced a perfectly serviceable email. The subject line was clear: request for extension on Q3 report. It was polite, direct, and explained the situation. It read, Dear Sarah, I am writing to respectfully request a 2-day extension for the Q3 report, originally due this Friday. Unfortunately, I have been unwell with the flu. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's professional, safe, and gets the job done. No complaints here. Now let's look at Claude's version. The subject line was similar. Extension request, Q3 report. The body of the email, however, felt a bit more human. It started, Hi Sarah, hope you're having a productive week. I'm writing to you today to request a short extension on the deadline for the Q3 report. I've unfortunately been down with a bad case of the flu for the past couple of days, which has set me back. I am confident I can have the completed report to you by the end of the day next Tuesday. It felt slightly warmer and more natural, especially with the hope you're having a productive week opening. It also proactively suggested a new deadline. It's a small difference, but in business communication, these little touches of emotional intelligence can matter. ChatGPT's was more formal and robotic, while Claude's felt more like something a real person would write. It's a close call, but for crafting human-like communication, I'm giving this point to Claude again. So, after our quick-fire showdown, the final score is 4-0, a decisive victory for Claude 3 Opus. Let's recap. For creative writing, Claude captured the author's voice with more poetic nuance. For coding, while both were accurate, Claude provided better explanations and foresight, making it a superior learning tool. For deep analysis, it demonstrated a more profound understanding of the source material. And for everyday tasks like writing an email, it showed more emotional intelligence and a more natural, human touch. Does this mean you should delete your ChatGPT account? Absolutely not. ChatGPT-4o is still an incredible, powerful, and extremely versatile tool. Its speed is amazing, and for many straightforward tasks, it's more than capable. It often feels faster and snappier for quick queries. However, based on these specific tests, which focused on depth, nuance, and a more sophisticated level of understanding, Claude 3 Opus consistently delivered a higher quality, more thoughtful response. It felt less like a machine executing a command and more like a brilliant collaborator. So, my final verdict? If you need quick, accurate answers and a fantastic all-around tool, ChatGPT is your reliable workhorse. But if your work requires deep creative and analytical thought, nuance, and a touch of humanity, it seems Claude 3 Opus is, right now, the AI that's actually better. What do you think? Have you had different experiences? Let me know your go-to AI and why in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this comparison helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the tools that are shaping our future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.